Shalom, welcome to the Operating Gordy. How about Shimon Shabbos and Karash, the Honorable Milson on Citation Let. In today's lesson, I want to get into right now is these intercontinental ballistic missiles, or ICBM for short. Because about every single country, I think, except Africa, South Africa, I think, has ballistic missiles. The government has like nuclear missiles, man. But those missiles are destined to be used, and they're mentioned through the scriptures. But right now I'm getting Ecclesiastes 1 and 9. The thing that have been, it is had that which shall be, and that which is done, it shall be done, and there's no new thing under the sun. So there's no new thing. So these missiles, right? Like what it's a man-made creation. No, it's truly the care of the Most High, man. But the thing is that missile is really just a more deadlier arrow. That's it, honestly, man. That's all it is an arrow. In the scriptures, they mention the missiles as an arrow. I'm gonna prove it real quick. I'm gonna jump first to second Esdras. So like 16 and verse 16, and it reads. In fact, I'll start at verse 12. The earth quaketh, and the foundations thereof. The sea rises up with waves from the deep, and the waves of it are troubled, and the fishes thereof before the Most High, and before the glory of His power. For strong is His right hand that bendeth a bow, His arrows that shooteth are sharp, and it shall not miss. So right now we're just talking about arrows, right? These arrows that won't miss at all. They're going to shoot sharp and will not miss. When they begin to be shot into the ends of the world, well, one arrow cannot reach the other side. Honestly, man, it can't shoot an actual arrow from the west coast to the east coast, or from the east all the way in Russia, all the way to the west in the United States, man. But yet it says that it's possible through the scriptures. A way possibly to do that is actually intercontinental ballistic missiles. So that arrow, what it's talking about in the scripture, is actually talking about the missiles. Behold, the plagues are sent, and shall not return again until they come upon the earth. The fire is kindled, and shall be put out to consume the foundation of the earth. Like as an arrow which is shot of a mighty archer return not backwards, even so the plagues that shall be sent upon the earth shall not return again. So the arrow is not going to be shot back, it's not going to return, man. Once this arrow goes, it's not going to return again. Because think what else, you could just pick up, if you shoot somebody with an arrow like an arrow, you could pick it back up. It might be broken. Maybe be broke, but you get the return back, man. So you don't have to make a lot of arrows and shit like that. But this arrow in the scriptures is gonna be shot towards a place and not return backwards, not gonna come back. And that arrow, like I said, is these intercontinental ballistic missiles. But I'm gonna prove it more through the scriptures though. I'm gonna get Jeremiah 50 and verse 14. And it reads, put yourself in array against Babylon round about. All ye that bend the bow, shoot at her, spare no arrows. Spare no arrows. That, like I said, that arrows means that all the arrows of the missiles, man, I'll shoot their arrows. They're gonna shoot all their anti-missile missiles, and they're shit them out. They're not gonna be for show no more. They're gonna actually be used. So the best way I can show it is in X-Men Apocalypse, man. Basically, you got them all to shoot the missiles, man. Basically, what they are, they're basically just a bunch of arrows. For she has sinned against the Most High, and this place has sinned against the Most High, man. This place, these Americas, they have touched the apple of the Lord's eye. The Israelites, man, they put them in slavery, they killed them, they did wicked, abominable things that cannot be named of. That's what's going on in this place, man. This is why they sinned against the Most High. It does wickedness. It followed wickedness. You got adultery, homosexuality, a lot of usury, and a lot of dumb shit like that, bro. Just going on in earth, and so it's sin against the Most High. So it's all those arrows that China, Russia, and stuff like that is building up. It being shot through to America, and all we have to do is wait on it. Next, I'm gonna get Revelations 9 and verse 15, and it reads, "And 4 angels were loosed and were prepared for an hour, and a day, and a month, and a year, for to slay a third part of men." To these 4 angels, and I'm going to show you what it is. Remember, they're trying to explain the best way they possibly can. So explain that as like these. Explain that as best as they can. Verse 16, "And the number of the army of the horsemen were 200,000, and I heard a number of them." So they're describing these missiles as horsemen. They're trying to horsemen. And I could see why, man. It's basically just flowing through, just rapidly going through like a horseman, bro. That's like have that carriage and just keep going and going, man. That was he trying to explain in the scriptures. That's truly how it's. I said the scriptures aren't just something to laugh at, man. They're not gonna just. It's not something like, oh, I don't want to live that, man. But I'm just explaining why are these like this get more in detail and stuff like that, bro. Like why isn't it saying it's a big rock and stuff like that? This is Matthew 13 and 10, and it reads, "And the disciples came and said unto him, Yahushua, why speakest thou in the parables?" Why speaking into parables? Don't you, a lot of people being like, oh, don't you want everybody to know? Don't you want the whole world to know about the gospel and stuff like that? Verse 11, "He answered and said to him, because it is given to you the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven, but to them is not given." The reason why we could understand this is because it is given to us to know how the scriptures are what we're really talking about. They're not talking about an actual arrow or actual horseman. No, man. Parts of it are literal, and parts of it are figurative. And most part that seem like I just like example, Adam and Eve, bro, the whole Garden of Eden. People think that was an actual apple, actual fruit. No, bro. Because through the scriptures, man, the Most High reveals us, we understand what these scriptures are actually talking about, though, Akim. But I hope the lesson was edifying. Open the Akim, Shalom.